President Putin, of Mr. President Abe from Japan, President Park from South Korea. And the focus of this meeting was to conclude very, very large economic projects and the economic integration of the Eurasian Economic Union and the Silk Road Belt Initiative, Road and Belt Initiative.
Pages, by hook or by crook, are going to be made public. That was made very clear on July 6th when Congressman Walter Jones and Congressman Stephen Lynch invoked the Gravel precedent, the Pentagon Papers precedent, and said it's our constitutional obligation to inform the American people about critical issues of national security where secrecy has no place. The minute it became clear that they were prepared to go that far, people at the White House went to the president and said, well, you've got a simple choice. You're going to either be the villain of this story or we'll try to spin it so you're the hero, even though he had no intention of releasing them. He was told it's going to happen anyway, whether it's done by the next president, whether Congress just takes it upon themselves to make it public. So you might as well get a little bit of a credit for it. And by the way, we're going to do it as the House and Senate are packing up their bags to go on vacation for 2 months, and as the 2 presidential nominating conventions are about to happen, and all of the oxygen is going to be sucked out of the media for the next month. So maybe we'll sort of sneak by and people will forget about it, and we'll have gotten away with sort of releasing it with minimum blowback. Well, obviously the turnout here today, other events that will be happening this weekend make it clear that that is not the case. That's not going to happen. And so, as Helga indicated, we've got to build on the victories that we've established.
On a notable day, and ceasefire has been declared in Syria, a struggle that's not been adequately noted by the world. And the Lord willing, will hold. I've been going to Syria every year, more than once usually, for probably 10 years now. And you've never been able to get through, you drive in from Lebanon. You've never been get through customs on both sides without hearing artillery in the distance, which means it's very close to Damascus, the border being 50 miles from Damascus. And the artillery closer to the place where the highway enters Syria from Lebanon, less than that. So peace may be coming that part of the Holy Land, as some call it, after a long and too often unnoticed, unremembered, deadly struggle. The history of Damascus is almost a history of Western civilization. And its struggle to bring us together, particularly its capital, Damascus, may be unequaled in history. Even at the Great Mosque, one of the 3 minarets that surround it is named for Jesus. You go to a lot of mosques, and you'll never find a minaret named for Jesus that I've been able to discover, except that this 700 or 800 year old, well, the site is a religious side is even older than that, because many early Christian leaders, St. John among others, are buried there. Today it is a memorial to what might have been the possibility, but seems more and more the probability. You will finally have the heart to learn to live together with dignity and respect and love. This time last year, about a month earlier, I guess, again in Damascus, and you could hear the distant artillery every night, unrelenting, not 15 or 20 miles away from the perimeters of the city. The city was carrying on pretty much normally. It's an old town. I've done too much traveling in my life. But there are very few places I find with a longer, deeper, more diversified and beautiful history than Damascus. And the fact that in the mosque, the oldest mosque in the country, in the heart of Old Town, has one of its minarets named for Jesus Christ, shows that it is possible to live together. I've been to mosques and churches all over the place, and that's the only one I know that honors with its high symbols a Christian. A mosque that honors the Christians with one of its 3 spires to heaven. And now a ceasefire and hopefully peace for a country that has suffered far more than we've been informed. Every day, violence. And all this time you couldn't get from the border on the southern edge of Lebanon, the southern edge of Syria, to the capital without hearing distant artillery fire. We've been pretty lucky here in this country. We've got to live near an artillery base to hear artillery fire, and I doubt there are more than a few thousand people in the country living in such a location. At the heart of this great old city, where one mosque, with 3, or rather one minaret of 3, at the great mosque, honors a Christian. As I said, John the Baptist. Reaching out, caring, and understanding that if you have to resort to violence to have your way, whether your way happens to be right or wrong, generally both sides believe their way is right. Not always. But, and then there's some countries where the people are so busy with material things that they don't even pay attention to whether it's right or wrong. They're looking more to stock market reports than they are the international news on violence or on the U.S. military budget. Did you ever wonder what we could have done with our military budget if we had applied it to infant mortality? The numbers of babies and infants that needlessly die in 2/3 of the world or more, maybe 4/5. It's staggering. And how the people aware, that's part of the problem, probably a major part of the problem. The greater part is people feeling helpless. What can I do, you know? Besides that, I've got priorities. I've got kids to feed, mortgages to pay, and football games to watch. The times are changing. I'm an optimist. I've been accused of being able to walk off the edge of the planet, and you hear me singing as I fade into the distance, we shall overcome. I believe it, and no matter how bad things get, I'll believe it, because I don't think if you don't believe it, you can be a part of the solution.